These are ultimate gaming monitors. I've got two of my favorite Samsung gaming and sim racing monitors behind me. Over here we have the 49-inch ultra-wide OLED version, and right next to it on the sim rig we have the 57-inch mini-LED version. Now I know that there's a lot of people out there that want to buy one of these, but they don't know which one is better or which one is the right one for them. Let's run through all the specs and the differences so you can find out which one is a better one for you. Let's start with the 49-inch ultra-wide OLED model. Now, it being an OLED, you get some really high contrast with really deep blacks and some very high saturated colors. Everything in this display looks amazing. I have been using OLED screens for 5 years now as my PC screen, so I'm a big OLED fan. The 49-inch has an 1800R curve, which means it is slightly curved, but not too much. This type of curve sits really well on a desk. It doesn't come out too far, but at the same time, the edges don't feel like they've ran away from you because it's so wide. The OLED panel has a very slim design. The back of the screen is silver, and the front has a very thin silver outline around the whole screen. This monitor has dual QHD resolution, so it's essentially two 27-inch monitors running at 1440p resolution. And it goes up to a massive 240Hz refresh rate for the gamers. And what's even better is a 0.03 millisecond response time, which is very fast. The front of the screen has a matte finish, so you don't really get any glare on it when you have lights in the room. And it has a 178-degree viewing angle, which really is true because you can go to any angle on the screen and it pretty much looks identical as to when you were sitting in front of it. And this is kind of an OLED thing because not all screens do this, but the OLEDs can definitely do this really well. It's got HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, and USB connections. And it has G-Sync compatibility, as well as AMD FreeSync Premium Pro. All the good stuff for gaming. The 32:9 aspect ratio is wild, it's extremely wide, and there's more and more games now that are compatible with this aspect ratio, which is so good. Because when you're playing these games, the immersion is on another level. You also have the ability to run two PCs at the same time and split the screen right in the middle and have two displays. This one retails for $2,299 Australian dollars, and I have seen it on sale for Black Friday and Boxing Day where you can get a better price than that. Now with these ultra wide screens, you need a fair bit of desk space. With the 49-inch, it's essentially like having two 27-inch monitors side by side. This one is 1,196mm wide. So what are some negatives about this screen? To be honest, I love it, so it's a bit hard to find anything wrong with it, but I have found a few things that I think people might want to know. The stand that it comes with doesn't really go as high as other monitors that I've had. So if you like to have your monitor really high, you might need to put something underneath the stand. In my case, this doesn't really matter because I usually put my monitors on arms. Now with the 32:9 aspect ratio, some games are not supported to be that wide, so you might have some black bars in some games. And finally, it has no speakers, which I personally couldn't care about because I would never use them, but if you like monitors with speakers, it doesn't really have any. Look, the monitor performs extremely well, and in the few weeks time that I've had it, I've completely fallen in love with it. It's going to be very hard to go back to anything else for gaming. And when I say gaming, especially first-person shooter games like Counter-Strike 2, Cyberpunk, and so on. It's a whole different experience playing games like that on this screen. And of course, if you're into sim racing, this is a great option. I think it's also a great screen for people to do a lot of office work. They might have a browser open, Microsoft Excel, they might do video calls as well. It's really good when you want to fit a lot of items on the same screen. But this is where the decision gets difficult because the 57-inch exists. But in some ways, it's a fairly different screen. First of all, the 57-inch display is huge. You're going to need a lot of space if you're putting that on the desk. To be exact, it's 1,327mm wide, which is bigger than a lot of desks out there. So you're going to need a big one. This monitor is essentially two 32-inch displays side by side. And this one is running a dual 4K resolution. Now that's a lot of detail. You're going to need a powerful PC to run at that resolution at a high frame rate, just so you know. It also runs a 240Hz refresh rate, just like the 49-inch, but it's got a much more aggressive curve at 1000R. So this one wraps right around you. For gaming, it's unbelievable, and for sim racing, it's 10 out of 10. The rear of the display is white and the front has a full black border. It's got a fast 1 millisecond response time and also a matte finish to reduce the glare. But instead of OLED like the 49-inch, it uses mini-LED. The mini-LED can go even brighter than the OLED, but it's not as high contrast and the blacks are not as deep as the OLED. Having said that, the difference is not as big as you'd think. To be honest, when I'm gaming on the 57-inch, I'm never sitting there thinking I need this to be more high contrast or anything like that. It actually looks really good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a very premium panel. Where the OLED does a lot better is in the viewing angle. On the spec sheet, they both say that they're 178-degree viewing angle, which technically they are. You can see the detail in each one when you go on the side. But on the OLED, it looks pretty much exactly the same as when you're sitting in front of it. This monitor has HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 2.1, and USB connections. It also has G-Sync and AMD FreeSync, just like the 49. Now, I know a lot of people are concerned about OLED if they haven't had it before, and they figure they might get burn-in. Now, in general, this was a big issue back with the early model of OLEDs, back like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I don't know when they started, but a while ago. I've been using it for 5 years now as a PC screen, and I haven't got any burn-in on my current OLED. The Samsung has an auto dimming feature when you're not using it, so that you don't get burn-in. So you'll see that screen dimming while I'm talking throughout this video, whereas the mini LED won't do that at all. What I usually do with OLEDs, I just have a screensaver that moves colors around whenever I'm not active for like 1 minute, and this keeps a 10 out of 10 for a very long time. The 57-inch retails at 3,200 Australian dollars, and once again on a sale you'll find it cheaper than that. So if you have the budget to buy either one, how do you decide which one to buy? For office work where you want a lot of windows open at the same time, and for gaming like first-person shooters, this just might be the better screen. You've got the OLED as well, and the screen isn't enormous, it will still fit on pretty much any desk. But if you do video editing and you want more vertical screen size, or if you're really into sim racing, then I would 100% go with the 57-inch. It's simply much bigger and you're gonna get way more immersed in the game when you got at the same distance as what you would have had with the 49. Don't think for 1 second that this screen doesn't look amazing just because it's not OLED. The mini LED is still really good. Look, you can't go wrong with either one. You're gonna be super happy with whichever one you choose. In the next video, I'm gonna test triple 32-inch screens on the sim rig. And I'm sure that might be more immersive, but what I found with the 57-inch is that it's just so easy to use. And I feel like it might be the better screen for when you have guests come over and when there's a lot of people hopping in and out of the sim rig. You won't have to mess around with your settings a lot every single time somebody changes the seat position, and the display just works great. If I wasn't a video editor and I had to choose one and I didn't have a sim rig, I would definitely go for the 49-inch. Look, I'm honestly super impressed by both of them. It's a very cool experience running a screen this wide. Alright guys, that's it for this one. If you have any questions about either monitor, leave it down below in the comments and I'll try and answer all of them.